First, we're gonna start off with like what is the witch wound? I actually like didn't know that term until recently. What a witch wound is described as, I've been very aware of for a long time, but I don't know if this term is like trending or something, but it was just a label. It's kind of like when I heard about ghosting. I remember being like, "What? Ghosting's been going on for years." Like, but the word like was trending almost, and it was almost like a word for something for a phenomenon that had always been happening. So it's kind of how I feel about the witch wound. But you know, what is it really? And like, let's kind of just come from a place of like, so that we're all kind of on the same page. And to me, the witch wound truly is like this feeling of being afraid to express that part of us that is interested in like the metaphysics and the energetic healing and anything having to do with like mysticism and sorcery, right? It's just this idea of like that that's bad, that that's scary, like afraid of going that way. I don't know who it was that said like, the fear of seeing things that like maybe I don't want to see, all that kind of stuff. I had that very heavily in the beginning, because I was raised Catholic and I was right there. I just felt like this was like bad stuff. And I was like, afraid of like seeing a ghost, all these things. I've gotten obviously much more comfortable with being able to see and all that. But even I think about like the way that I practice, like I practice very much in these safe places, right? Like I have like workshops in Zoom calls. Like I don't really do too much like Instagram live workshops or things like that. Nothing that's like too public. Like I still work in somewhat of a cave. And I that all comes from this, this witch wound, this idea of like it's not really safe. And I think there is truth to it. I don't feel that it's all um made up, you know. I think it is a form of like protection from for us, from something that's like not yet fully accepted. So yes, some of it is past lives and all that, but a lot of it is just like a form of protection as well. So don't like be so hard on yourself if you're having a hard time. Like it's not all made up in your head, is what I'm trying to say. Um, so definitely, like some people feel that this is very much like past life related, which I've had several rememberings of past lives, of being persecuted, of doing this work, of being with all of you before, and kind of like, I really do feel that in many ways I'm here to like pick up where we all left off. I've had many experiences with students telling me stories of their lives as like, witches or sorcerers or mystics or all those things. So yes, a lot of it is just, it is past life fears. But I do want to say that a lot of it is current life also. And the reason for that is that, you know, to me, like in very simple terms, without getting even too mystical about it, the witch wound really is like an attack on female intuition created by a patriarchal system of fear, basically. So it is like the witch wound is just like a fun word, but truly it is that somehow our culture um, went from a place of like, goddess circles and, many, years ago, many generations back, like we were totally okay with like women being leaders of tribes, and we were honoring the goddess and the moon and all these kind of things. And at some point when that patriarchal society really started to come full force, the first thing that it went for, or one of the things that it went for, was the female intuition. Why? Because physically a man is stronger than a woman most of the time physically, right? Like typically men, that species has been bigger than the woman, so they had power in that way. That's why like a lot of the attack on women is like physical attack. But um what has a woman always had over a man of the male species is more that intuition, that even like that sex appeal, all those kind of things. It's all these things that are energetic and quote unquote manipulative, that have taken over, that have been more powerful than men, even though our size may be smaller. So this is like so much deeper than just like you being afraid of like coming out about your witchiness. It's actually been like built into society that this thing that is very not to say that men don't have intuition. My husband is like a very intuitive person, and but like women were kind of like, the first to really use it and to be priestess and all these kind of things. And but we held a certain amount of power when we had that. So that had to go away because in the patriarchy, it's more that male, that masculine energy is what rules and power is what rules. So part of that new way of being was like we had to strip intuition and we're really having an awakening of everybody's intuition, not just female intuition, because we're like learning about how power has been totally fucked, and that we've all been like trapped into these like different power systems, and the only way out is really to gain that intuition back. So this is like so much bigger than you just like believing in spirit guides and all those kind of things. Like this is like built into the system, which is starting to change, right? Like we, as soon as we moved into the the Aquarian time, right, which we're still up to date debate for like when exactly that happened, we are moving more into this like feminine balance. And that's why also a lot of these practices are coming back. So, like it's still not like super safe, but we're all working towards that. And all of us just like claiming this back is huge. Like it's just a big part of like where the world is going. And us all working on whether it's from this lifetime or from, so there's like there's a few ways of where it comes in. It's one is like just from living in like our current society, right? That's been going on. Two is the female lineage, right? So your female lineage, like how the patriarchy has affected your female lineage, or even doesn't even have to be female. It could also be like if you come from like an indigenous lineage, like the white man took those practices from the indigenous people. So like it could be like on both male and female. It doesn't have to be just like female lineages, but like where it actually comes, where it's been hurt in your lineage. And then there's the past life layer. So there's like three different layers or three different like pathways, I guess, where this wound can come from. Okay. Everybody with me? Or everybody like, shit, I signed up for the wrong thing?